Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Sarah. If you are new, I am a young Australian stay-at-home mum. We live on one income, so this is how we all do it. I made a video about changing some things in the budget. We have just gotten paid, so I'm going to do the monthly budget rundown. So for y'all who are new, we get paid twice a month, and so we have the money from my husband's job, and then we get a thing from the government. It's called family tax benefit, so that helps out. I think it's like it's $280 a fortnight. I did get a message saying that it was going to be increased, but like I said in my last video, my husband's looking for a different job, so I don't really know if we are going to get the increase, if we're not, or what. But an increase would be good, because I had mentioned in the last video about power going up a lot. We got a message from our power company saying that it was going to go up by like more than 50%. Basically they were just saying, this is what's going to happen if you want to get out, you know what I mean? So we did change power providers, so we'll see what happens when our next bill comes. But this is going to be the monthly rundown of just changing up the budget. So last time I changed it, I did one pay, so I could, like the first pay, which is today, I used for like food. So I wanted to I wanted to bulk buy food, and I kind of felt like when I had the budget split into the two things, I couldn't, because I was on a limited budget for that. The meal prepping for the whole month didn't work for breakfast and lunches. I found that it only lasted like 2 weeks, and I think that that could just be because food has gone up, because we did spend almost all of the money in the first 2 weeks. So when we rolled into the second 2 weeks, we just didn't have enough left over. Food has gotten so expensive. So I don't know if that was it, or we were just snacking more because the food was there. I really don't know, but what I did enjoy from doing that was buying the dinners in bulk. So all of our meat. So that's what I'm going to do this time. I'm going to buy all of our meat. We're going to go to Costco tomorrow, and I'm going to buy all of the meat and everything, and I'm going to meal prep all of the dinners, and then just have them in our freezer. And then I'm just going to do either bi-weekly shops for lunches and breakfast. I did find buying like the lunch stuff, trying to get that in bulk was really difficult, because like vegetables and things were quite hard to come by, especially for the dinners. Actually, I did say in my last video that trying to find the frozen vegetables for the food was a bit difficult as well, so I had to like look at a few different shops for that. So that's what I'm going to do for that. The other thing is I also used the spending money to come out of the first month's pay. That did work in a sense, but I think because the money was there, we spent a little bit too much of it too soon. So what I'm going to do is I'm still going to do it that way, but I'm going to budget it out. So I'm going to put this, like all the money in the spending envelope, and then take out a certain amount for the week that I can use, if that makes sense. So that's what I'm going to stick to. I'm just looking at my notes. So yeah. And then when I noticed that we did the second pay, when I was doing the stuffing of the envelopes and things like that, I noticed that I did need to use the money out of the envelopes a little bit more. I think that's because normally if I've got the money in my wallet, I just pay for it, even though it might be coming out of the food shopping or pocket money or whatever. I don't really think about it because I need it at that time. So I noticed that I was actually using the envelopes a lot more because I didn't have that money on hand, because I'd already kind of spent it in the first 2 weeks. So when it came to things for Matilda, I was just like, oh, you know, I actually had to go and get the money from the Matilda fund instead of just, you know, spending whatever was in my wallet. Because normally when I buy things for Matilda out of like the Matilda's needs thing, it's normally a bulk thing or something that we kind of go and buy with a purpose. So I'm just trying to think. The last thing we did for that was, I think it was when we were redoing her bedroom. We kind of used some of the money from the Matilda fund to kind of make her bedroom, and we've still got a few things that we want to do in there. The other thing was, when she was like a baby, well, in learning to walk, we would use money from the Matilda fund when we went out and bought like a walker and things like that. So we kind of already know when we leave the house that we're doing it for a purpose. So yeah, so this time she wanted like a car, so I used the money from like the Matilda's, you know, when I would have just used my pocket money, if that makes sense. So I was using the envelopes a lot more, and a lot of them do feel like they are getting quite empty, but I think that is the point, isn't it? So you know you've got the money there. So food wise, I told you we were both supposed to be doing low carb in the grocery haul. Benjamin lasted a week. Yeah, he lasted a week. So that was probably the other thing with the food, because I kind of planned everything out to be a certain way, and I'd budgeted it to be a certain way, but he was just like, yeah, nah, I can't do this. So I'm still doing low carb, and then basically I just went and I brought some potatoes and pasta and just adding those things, garlic bread, to his kind of food to kind of bulk it up a little bit. Matilda has been really off of her food recently. I'm not 100% sure what is going on with it, but she mainly just eats kind of what Ben eats, because I don't give her low carb or anything like that. You know, she normally enjoys eating like toast and eggs and things like that in the morning. The other thing with Matilda is she is off formula now. So I think I had said in one of my videos we spend $200 a fortnight, or is it $100 a fortnight? We spend a lot of money on formula, like a ridiculous amount of money on formula. Yeah, just a ridiculous amount. I can't remember if I said it was 100 or 200, but it was a lot of money. And she is now weaned off of it, so half of the money that we were spending on formula will be going into the food budget, and then the other half we are going to be putting into an envelope for the next baby. I didn't really film, like I had a channel before having Matilda, but I didn't really film much during that time. But when we had Matilda, we had already kind of had most of the stuff we thought we would need. We're not really like those kinds of people that go out and buy lots and lots of stuff. Like we didn't have the nursery ready. We had a car seat for her, but like we were expecting a big baby. I'm over 6 foot, my husband's over 6 foot. When my nephews were born, they were huge, like massive. So we were expecting a big baby. So I went out and I only brought like like size 3 to 6 months, because when my nephew was born, like he was like already in like, I'm pretty sure a 3-month size, like he was a big boy. And when like Matilda was born, she was premature, so we had a lot of like unexpected things come up. And if you are in Australia, if for your first child, you do get a lot of help from the government. Like, I don't know if it's called the baby bonus now or like whatever it's called, but you do get a lot of help from the government for your first child. I don't know if it's for all of them, but for your first child. But because Matilda was premature and it took us so long to do the paperwork, we did get back paid a lot of the things, but a lot of the things we were struggling to buy from week to week. Because I had to go out and buy a breast pump, because obviously she was in the NICU ward, so I couldn't be there all the time. So that was like $200. Like that was an expense we hadn't planned on, because at the time I thought I was going to be able to breastfeed, but I couldn't. So you know, that's an expense. So I really want to be conscious for the next baby. We're not entirely sure when we will have the next baby, but always just keeping in mind for that, because children are expensive. You know, I believe in having as many children as God wants you to have, but I also believe that you need to know that you can financially take care of them. With everything going on in the world at the moment, my husband and I had planned on maybe having another baby next year. But we're just going to wait to see how it goes with this job. Obviously, we'd like a bigger place if we had another baby. So it's all of those things. Don't get me wrong, if we do just have Matilda, we will be really happy. We love having her. I have been asked a number of times if we were going to keep having children until my husband got a boy. The answer is no. Benjamin has always said that he would be happy if he was just a girl dad. He loves Matilda. But he said if we have a boy too, like he'd also be really, really happy with it. But that is kind of off kilter with the budgeting. I did find that I did spend a little bit more money from the envelopes, like I did say. And then something else popped up, and I can't remember what popped up, but I had to use our emergency fund for it. I think it was something to do with the food, because food has gotten so expensive. I think I needed more milk, so I actually had to use some money from the emergency fund for the milk, because yeah, that's gone up to like $1.35 a litre. And with Matilda switching, because we didn't know if she was going to switch from formula, so I had already brought all of her formula in the bulk part of the shop. So that's what had happened, I'm remembering now. So I'd already brought all of Matilda's formula thinking she was still going to be drinking it, but she weaned, actually. I think she was just ready to wean. So I think after the first 2 weeks we had run out of like milk, so I had to use some money from the emergency fund to buy more milk. I hope this kind of makes sense. I did try to write it all down, but like I have said, I am dyslexic, so even when I write things down, I actually can't even read my own writing sometimes. So and I write it like out in big print. People always ask me when they look at my Bible, because I have got gigantic print in my Bible. Like I don't have like the like lots of people have got really nice study Bibles and they've got like notes and things like that. Yeah, no, mine is just like gigantic, so I can actually read it properly. But that is kind of the monthly budget. I'm gonna split it again this month because I did really like that, but I think within the splitting, just to be really conscious of where everything is going, especially with the food and spending wise, just making sure that we only use a certain amount of the spending money, because you know, you don't know what's going to happen at the end of the month that you might need to use your spending money on. And the other reason the spending money went really quickly is because we did go out and buy like winter clothes and things like that, because it is getting freezing here. And op shops are ridiculous. Honestly, they are going up in price. Like I went in there the other day and they wanted like $30 for something that had a stain on it just because it had a Nike brand. So yeah, that is the rundown. The next video you see from me will be this one, and then after that will probably be another day in the life. I'm just trying to think of when you'll see our Costco food haul, because I'm really excited to go to Costco. I've never done like a huge Costco haul before. Like I go and I buy like a few things, but I think from Costco tomorrow I'm going to be buying like the meat, because meat is a lot cheaper at Costco. I'm going to be buying the snacks, I think. Matilda really likes the veggie straws. So yeah, that's what I'm going to buy. And I also need to start like getting more into the process of how to feed Matilda, because normally she turns down food because she's had her milk. So I kind of need to get into the rhythm of giving her breakfast, lunch and dinner and snacks and things like that. So if you have any ideas about that, or how to get into the good routine, because she just keeps turning down the food, please leave it in the comments. I hope this wasn't too rambly, but I would honestly say that this budget was successful for the first attempt of trying it like this, and we learned a lot. And that is what I always say with the budgeting. It is just trial and error. You have to figure out what will work for you and what will work for your family, and what works for me might not work for you. It's just a matter of trying. And then when you find something that works, stick to it, and you can mix it up a little bit if you want to. The other thing is, just quickly, is the traveling. We are supposed to be traveling in June and July. Yeah, we're supposed to be traveling in July, August, I think. So I'm going to do a video on how we save for that, and pack and do all of that. The biggest thing about traveling is always like staying somewhere, but we'll be staying with family. So that's all good. But I hope you enjoyed this video. Sorry it was rambly, just trying to get my thoughts down, but it was a successful month in my mind, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.